Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Societal Narcissism. This video is sponsored by contribution from Ladies of Liberty, and I owe some people a lot of videos. Well, I wasn't sure how I was going to react till I started filming. Today is 1 year since we left the other place, and everything nearly completely fell apart on us. And from then to now has been remarkably better. So I am very, very happy. I had a lot of reflection to do in these past months, because I couldn't fester. I couldn't fester in the negativity anymore. I've been trying to figure out what to say now for like a month and a half, almost 2 months. Because, and it's all good, and I'm not complaining. There's not a complaint video whatsoever. This obviously I'm back, full time, full bore ahead. But I had to change after the Diane situation. And though I was getting so much activity and so much traction with the Diane situation, and as much as I despise her and everything she represents, it was so dark. It was so dark, and I was angry. And rightfully so. I mean, she is a rage-inducing person. And to do what she did and to get me like right on the precipice of losing everything completely, because that was always my biggest fear, is if I lose everything completely and I can't do anything, and then what? Because the way my mind works and the way I am and what my background is, like internally this is frustrating, like I am never going to be one of these mega guys. And not because I don't have the talent, and not because, nobody will give me the chance and booty hooty hoo. It's up here. Like what I have done and what I have done on this channel and what I've been talking about now for close to 10 years, has kept me in that dark place. And, I go there because, this is what I'm doing, and it helps a lot of people, but, and it takes a toll. And I've said that, and nobody complains to me. Everybody understands. Most people understand, like, take the time. We get it. It's, it's got to be wearing it. And it is. But, I've had to, as with anything, growing up and then dealing in adulthood after being raised by cluster B sociopathic narcissists, like most of us on this channel were. It's that constant darkness. It's that constant impending doom and the self-sabotage. And as I've been saying for years, with that, you have to go back and you constantly have to keep going and reassessing things that you just took for granted. Like, the sky is blue. Like, for example, like basic things like that. Obviously, the sky is blue, but things that we believed as strongly as the sky is blue in our minds, if you go back and take a step back and reevaluate it, see it for something completely different, and then you don't understand why you didn't see it in that way before. And it's not like I'm not going to still do those types of videos as well, where if I see something egregious, I'm going to call it out. Me going through TikTok looking for sociopath after sociopath, borderline after borderline, bad mother after bad mother, boomer after boomer. You know, it's great fodder. Okay, it's almost like that crime drama, murder porn, and to a certain extent. But where is it getting us? It's keeping us angry, which is the purpose of changing the channel, the societal narcissism, in the first place. Because in order to fix that sociopath, in order to fix the narcissism problem and that sociopath problem and that cluster B problem, you're going to have to address the society that allows it in the first place. What is and I've said this, we put our finger on it, what is the ideology that drives it all? Marxism, communism, socialism, me first, destroy everything. Talking about what's unfair, not equality, not what's... The problem is they don't want to build anybody up. They don't want to raise the slowest. They don't want to make the slowest person faster. They want to bring all the fast people down to be slow. And we talked about that before. Talked about a lot of things on this channel before. And I've had the ability, to sit back and to really go down some rabbit holes that have kind of explored, never got too deep into, the subject of, noticing things. That's going to be something that'll be discussed on Rumble because, YouTube will be used for certain things, but for me to really talk about what I want to talk about, I'm going to have to do it on Rumble. I'm going to do my best going forward to try to clean up the swearing and the language. Not because I'm becoming a holy roller, though I am become a lot more spiritual and not that you know where I'm at with the Catholic Church. But again, as we're talking about noticing things, Christ is King. That's all I'm going to say about that. Maybe someday somebody will explain to me how the master race is any different than the chosen people. Subject for another video. But these are kind of the areas I'm going to be going down on Rumble as well. Because this problem isn't going to get fixed unless you go down certain rabbit holes that are going to be very taboo and are going to piss off certain people. It is what it is. Every race, every culture, every religion has their assholes. Seems like only one, you're only allowed to call out one certain group of assholes and none others. Well, maybe a couple others, but there's certain. But we'll discuss that further on Rumble. Because at some point you gotta just be like, well, you and you and you and there and there and what, like, you're a what? I'm just saying, like, why 1, 2, 3, here, there? Like, I'm not, whoa, I'm Armenian, guy. Like, I got my people. Maybe you want to start giving weapons to Azerbaijan while you're at it, too. So, you care so much about genocides and that. But you don't have a problem doing it to a bunch of Armenians, I guess. Again. Believe I talked about that back in October. So there's going to be a lot of areas I'm going to be going into. I'm trying to get my camera angles right, and I really wish I could have gotten started. It's the hardest. And here's the thing, guys, and like I am so guilty of this, and I'm sorry if I'm back and forth, and like the hardest part is always just getting started again. But like once the fuse is lit, the fuse is lit. And that's with anything. We are classic procrastinators. We are just classic procrastinators because you think doom and gloom is around every corner. And I hope the sound is good. Because I'm on a Stratocaster now. I got all different types of settings that I have no idea how they work, but new mics, new booms, the whole works. So now, how about that election? I told you guys back in 2015 that day would come, that what happened on Saturday, and again, this is for YouTube right now because that's where the most of my subscribers are. I don't have that many on Rumble, but this will be on Rumble, and the uncensored stuff will be on Rumble. But I told you in 2015, eventually that day would come. And living in a society of societal narcissism, what have I said? When all else fails, the narcissist gets violent. No different in your personal life, no different in politics. You lie about them, you smear them, you call them crazy, you call them incompetent, none of that works. You call them a criminal, you call them a rapist, you call them a felon, you put bullshit, you put 90-something nonsense charges on you. And I told you, and again, you want to go back on my old videos, you guys know my videos better than I do. I said with all those prosecutors, I said it when they started indicting them, I'm like, these cases are all going to fall apart. And then they're going to blame their hood booger prosecutors. That's why they did it. That's why it's Alvin Bragg and Fannie Willis. Okay, other than Jack Smith, like, who's the other one? Jack Smith is doing Washington. That's with the judge chunking, and they're freaking out in Florida because there's actually one federal judge. You got one judge that's not paid off by the system, and they can't handle it. I'll tell you this: they handed him he was already pretty. Look, in a fair election, it would have been a landslide. You know where I'm at with the last election he won. I think you're still allowed to say, I think you could say that again on YouTube. I remember you could. And this one was getting to the point where it's nearly impossible to steal. Don't put it past them. I mean, they might do something that it's just so obvious because they don't care. At the end of their rope, the communist becomes desperate and they don't care and they just do what they do and they say, what are you going to do about it? We control all the levers of power. We control all the prosecutors. We control all the judges. How are you going to stop us? And that's why I was telling you forever, Republicans are losers. Because they just want to know the rules of my Constitution. But then they'll sit there and then they'll project, say what they say about Trump. And I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get hit with any hate. We know the rhetoric, he's a Russian agent, and the things they've said about him over, and now they're going to stop. Now that something happened based off their rhetoric of what they have been asking for. Now they're going to stop, just like every narcissistic, borderline personality disordered, sociopathic bully does. They are now the victims. They are now the victims. They call Trump out for fighting back for what he says, but when you roll back what he's actually saying and put it in context, what he's saying is usually in response to some lie that either the media, the left, the Democrats, they put out. You're not allowed to fight back. These have been the rules, guys. These have been the rules here since I started talking about this in 2014, 2015. Been a long time. Been a long, long time. Now, I mean, some people are built different. Like Trump is obviously built different. I could tell that years ago when I met him and I worked with him. That, filmed that commercial at Macy's. But at this point, if you don't think that there's some kind of divine something watching over him, I mean, he turned his head at he wasn't even supposed to have that segment up on the television. The reason why that bullet didn't go through his head is because he was wanted to put up some immigration slide on the Jumbotron. So you could thank Joe Biden for, I guess you could thank Joe Biden for letting the immigrants in and having the crisis. Otherwise, he wouldn't have needed that slide, wouldn't have turned his head and would have happened. But he wasn't supposed to actually have the slide. He decided to go off teleprompters, like, yeah, put it up. I'll jump ahead. And just at that moment, he turned his head to look up and clipped his ear. And you see a picture with the bullet going by his head. How about that Secret Service, huh? Oh boy, the patriarchy. Like I said, I'm all over the place here because it's been a while. And don't worry, going forward, I'll clean most of this up. It'll be a lot more regimented, but this is my first video back. I'm just trying to get get ready to go, get motivated, get, haircut and ready to go. I have had this studio ready to go, and getting started is always the hardest part. How about them girl bosses, huh? How about them girl agents? Trump, he took the bullet, he's bloody, he gets up, he's fist pumping. I was scrolling Twitter at the time when it happened. Like, I actually saw it, but if you scroll Twitter, the sound's not on, so you can scroll and you can look. And I saw Trump there, and I kind of looked, and I looked back, and then I saw the guy in the blue shirt kind of like this, like forward. And I'm like, and to that, it looked like, he was getting ready to sit down. I'm like, maybe it must have been a video from another earlier. And I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right. And then I scroll down and it hit Jonathan Turley. It's like Trump was just shot. I'm like, what? And then I flip it back up and switch it over onto Newsmax. And that's when Trump got up and he's like pumping his fist. It was emotional. I mean, it was emotional for a lot of people. I remember, even the Newsmax anchor, the girl was crying. She's like, oh my God, they shot him. And he got up and he got that iconic shot, which is now my Facebook. Got that iconic shot of him with his head, but why? How did you get that? I'm glad he got it. Why? Well, if you look, he is surrounded by linebacker male Secret Service agents like this, and then right in front of him is 5'3" with an attitude, okay, girl boss Secret Service agent, leaving his head completely exposed. And then you roll back, and then you go and you look at more video, and you realize there's not one, there's not two, there's not three, there's four female Secret Service agents on the former president, leading candidate to be the next president of the United States, at an open field rally. 380 million, 400 million Americans. You're telling me these four women are the best available? The best available. And then you look and you see, the patriarchy again. The head of the Secret Service, okay, is another girl boss who reminds me so much of my ex-wife. It's maddening. And I see her prior experience. Apparently she was a Secret Service agent at one point, and then went over to PepsiCo and became like their director of security, and then went back to the Secret Service as head of the FBI, as head of Secret Service. Let me explain something to you, okay? As somebody who spent 19 years in retail, as a retail loss prevention executive, and that's going to be another topic I'm going to get into, is all the theft and all the other shit going on. I'll get a lot more detailed into that as well. Why? Anyway. Sorry. Anyway. She went from a Secret Service agent to head of PepsiCo, like security. There's no way she knows anything about that. No way, no how. There's just, it's never compatible. It doesn't work. You can't go from law enforcement, government law enforcement, to private sector retail like that without any experience and just take it all. It doesn't work. Like, I wish, like, I'm sure you guys in your experience, there's things you can't articulate to somebody on the outside of like why that is just like, it would just never, it can't happen. Anytime it has happened, it ends in abject failure. And we've seen stuff like that happen, and these people are always abject failures, which I'm sure is exactly what happened at PepsiCo. But it looks good on her resume, and then they put her back. She gets a job back at the Secret Service as the head of the Secret Service. I mean, and her goal is to make sure that 30% of the Secret Service agents are women. Well, you know what? That's not even, I could live with that, because the Secret Service does other things. Like, I used to work when I was in Reed with Macy's and IKEA, used to work with Secret Service all the time on credit fraud, you want to see a Secret Service come barging through your door? Go look up on Google Secret Service credit swiper hotline, credit card swiper hotline. And that is a number. You call that number, you tell them you're a retail store, you got an employee actively using a credit card swiper. And what that is, it almost looks like a pager or a cell phone. And you give your card to pay, and they take it and they just swipe it. It's like and then they got you, and they collect thousands and thousands of numbers. And we used to catch employees doing this. You'd watch them, and then you call hey, this is, you want to swipe it? They come. You'd be surprised. They're everywhere, and they are everywhere. You think they're not around. There are Secret Service agents 10 minutes away from everywhere. Everywhere. Why do you think there's a post office in every town in America? It's a federal government office. They are 10 minutes from everywhere. Now, you want to make those women, you want to put them in on the treasury, even though they don't answer the Treasury, they answer to Homeland Security now. You want to have them doing financial crimes. You want to have them, that's fine. I have no problem with that. They make good investigators. All that. I have no problem with that. You cannot, because you're not physically big enough to protect somebody like Trump, to physically manhandle Trump, to throw your body onto Trump. The chick, the one girl, the main girl who's closest to Trump, fell straight down and is hiding behind the other guys, screaming, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And then once they're moving Trump, they get Trump up. He does the fist pump. You can see him because she's so much shorter than him. God forbid there's a second guy. You got a clean headshot, like, because, you know, as Dirty Harry Callahan said, it's a hell of a price to pay to be stylish. It's a hell of a price to pay to be stylish. And then, I mean, and then they're moving them to the SUV. Then the real hilarity ensues. They can't holster their weapons, or freaking sunglasses are flying, they're running around. You got 3 women standing in front of the SUV, like, where are the dudes? Like, the dudes throw them in. These are the best people. These are the best people. It almost makes you think it had to be intentional. It had to be intentional. How does this geek who is bullied, some kids you can't bully enough, honestly. Some people you just know they're fucking weird. You just know they're a problem. Like, you just know it. 150 yards, that is nothing. I can make that shot. Charlene could make that shot. Okay? Most anybody here with a sight could make that shot on a white, this is what a rank amateur this kid is. On a white roof out in broad daylight. Or maybe he's not that much of a rank amateur. As we've come to find out, weird, he's in a BlackRock commercial. You know, BlackRock, who's buying up everybody's properties, buying up everybody's investments, okay? Why would BlackRock have this kid in a commercial? Well, BlackRock does investments for, you know, those heroes called teachers that, you know, I've discussed ad nauseum, who are heroes who are not heroes. And lo and behold, there's the shooter right there. 2 scenes of a 30-second commercial. Sure, it's a coincidence. In broad daylight. The main roof in front not covered. This kid's in a Blackwater commercial after they filmed it in his town. They're making a deal that he's a registered Republican, but he voted for Nikki Haley. I don't know how they know that, but that's what's out there. Donated to Biden. Voted for Nikki Haley because in Pennsylvania that's what they do. Democrats, they try to screw with the primaries. That's probably what he did. And lo and behold, weird. Trump tries to make peace with Nikki Haley and announces she's going to talk at the rally, and then somebody takes a shot. And you know what would have happened if they were successful? Today starts the GOP convention. What would have happened is, what they're trying to do to Biden? Okay. Have a bunch of guys in a back room decide he's been wiped out, no VP named. So what are they going to do? Who do you think they're going to name? They would have named Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley would have been the GOP candidate, and that would have been it. That would have been done for. You would have been in World War III and the whole nine. they're still going to steal. They're still going to try to steal it. I don't think they could send Trump to jail now, though. I mean, I think they got real problems. After this, there's not a chance in hell. They might just throw all these cases out at this point. Because I think, God forbid, they were actually, I don't even want to think what would have happened if they were successful. It's hard enough trying to keep the country together without a national divorce as it is. I mean, if they were successful, God forbid, who knows? So, but we're going to have a lot to talk about with the convention and politics and everything that's been going on. And things you're not allowed to notice, and things you are allowed to notice, and societal narcissism and calling out the phonies and all of it. So I have the queue. I'll be going through that as well. Probably once this thing goes, it's going to be 100, 120, 150 videos a month again. And keep it rolling, because there's been so many things I've wanted to talk about, and it's just like, you try to start and you just can't. You just can't. I will say, especially with like all the theft, these theft rings that are going on, and it's such bullshit. It's such bullshit, the entire topic. And I'll do that. I might do that as my next video, is why. Because it's on the retailers. It's not the cops. It is to a certain extent, but it's on the retailers. These retailers have been losing money hand over fist for 30 years because they have been mismanaged. They have been mismanaged and run into the ground by the same CEOs that have been playing musical chairs with each other's companies. One drives Macy's into the ground. He goes to Penny's. The Penny guys goes to Sears. The Sears guy goes to Nordstrom's. The Nordstrom guy goes out to Macy's West or to Bloomingdale's. And this guy goes to Dick's, and all they've been doing is driving their companies into the ground for 30 years. Okay, that's it. Now you're getting all these smash and grabs and these big thefts, and that stuff has been happening since the 60s. Has it been on this stage? No, but they could put a stop to that instantly. And everybody's, people are making a big deal, out in California, they're raising the theft limit for a felony to be $950. Listen. Everything they're running out of those buildings with, Bloomingdale's, Coach, Louis Vuitton, they got thousands of dollars worth of merchandise. They're all acting in concert. They're smashing things. They're using burglary tools. These are all felony charges above shoplifting in the first place. And even if it was just straight shoplifting, it's above the $950 threshold anyway. Even if the police don't want to make the arrest, meaning they don't want to come down there and arrest the guy, the store can still, once you have that guy apprehended and you have good ID and you know who they are, you can still go down and sign charges with the court clerk and sign, the prosecutor won't prosecute. Well, guess what? We had plenty of cities that didn't prosecute shoplifting cases. They just didn't do it. So what do? You bring in your own lawyer to prosecute these type of cases. You can absolutely do that. The retailers know this. They're not telling these people this. They don't tell you this. Why? Why? Because they have been running their companies into the ground, and they're using this as an excuse. The shortage numbers are high. Take Macy's. Herald Square. The shortage numbers are back to around $26 million a year in that building. That's what they were when I got there. And nobody was talking about shutting down locations, and they weren't talking about expanding. What's changed? They're not bringing in the sales anymore. Most of these companies' inventories are in warehouses. They're locked away in warehouses and secure stock rooms. You can't get most of this merchandise. Yeah, some of these stores, when they get hit like that, they take a hit. They take a pretty sizable hit, especially if they're self-insured like Macy's is, and most retailers are self-insured. You'll take a hit, not nearly what you think. It's not going to bankrupt you, not nearly what you think it is, because most of the goods are in the DCs, are in the warehouses. They're not in the stores. They're not on the selling floors. When they're breaking in and they're looting a Macy's and they're looting like these department stores, they're not getting the fine jewelry because they have had the glass, this tempered glass that they put in. You could stand there for 20 minutes with a goddamn sledgehammer. You're not getting through it. The case lines drop down in the metal safes that you're not getting into. They're not taking so much. They're taking losses. They're not taking as much as what you think. Now, somebody like retailers like CVS and Walgreens and those, same deal. Like they gotta apprehend these people themselves. You can't just call the police and say, do something. They didn't see the crime go down. I was going to do this in another video, but this is why. Like, you can't just call the police and say, oh, they're stealing, you got to come do something. Well, unless the police physically see them steal, there's nothing they can do. They say, well, you got to sign charges? Well, no. Well, if you're not going to sign charges, because you got to be the one that signs the charges. Understand? You get caught shoplifting. The police aren't the ones signing the charges against you. The store is. The loss prevention security agent, whoever it is who caught you, is the arresting officer. All the cop is there to do is to transport and type up the paperwork. That's it. So like these issues with these thefts, it's on the retailers. A lot of it is on the retailers. Because let me tell you something. They come in 20, 30 deep and they go running out. Oh, what are you going to do? You can only catch one or two of them. That's all you need to catch is one or two of them. Because here's the thing. This is how this worked, and this is how you got it under control. So you get 20 guys run out, and I can only catch one of them. Okay? Yet I know every item that has been stolen. You go in and you rob a bank with a group of guys. Do you think you only get charged with what you were physically carrying, or you get charged, you steal $1 million, you and your group steals $1 million from a bank, you get charged with $1 million of bank robbery. Well, you only was carrying like 10,000, so, it's not as bad. No, that's not how it works. That's what you do. Oh, it's God. It's great because, people would think like, oh, well, they don't talk, they don't snitch, people don't snitch. Really? Really, let them know that they're on the hook now for $120,000 worth of goods. Damn it, and that's been damaged. Oh, you'd be surprised how fast Stop Snitching goes out. You're getting real names, aliases, addresses. I'll take you there. Yeah. That's how that shit works. And then you can go and you file charges. And even if they get notified, they don't show up to court. Now they got a bench warrant out on them. And they get picked up on. And look, it's a game. And you're playing the long game, but eventually the game pays off because eventually society they're doing this to try to break society. They're doing this to try to control us. Once they've decided they got the control they want, they are going to then crack back down on these people so hard, and they're not going to have to pass any new laws to do it. So the question is like, well, why would they pass a law then to raise a theft limit to $950? Why? Why would a Democrat do that? Because they know the criminal's family are dumb enough to think that they're actually vote for him. Like he's winking, ha ha. No, we're cool with it, dude. We're cool. We're going to make it $950. And they're so dumb, they don't realize they're running out with $6,000 worth of Coach bags. Well, I only took 2 bags. Like, yeah, there's $3,000 a pop, Jack. Sorry. Like, sorry, it's a felony. And you came in with all your friends in the same car. You're acting in concert. Oh, he's got to... You're up to $96,000, guy. You're on the hook for. Like, I'll take you to his house. I'll get the. The stores know this, but they don't want to touch it because they're trying to go to an online model and they're trying to alleviate themselves of 30, 40 years of ineptitude. It's bullshit. It's shiny stuff to keep you distracted. The stores. And here's the other thing. Amounts is not what stops, is not the problem, so much the problem with shoplifting. It's recidivism. These guys don't just come in once and you never see them again. You catch them over and over and over and over again. How New York City, one of the major reasons why New York City got cleaned up was because of the retailers. Macy's Herald Square, when Giuliani took over, when he became mayor, I think in 93, 94, was bringing in just the one store, 5,000 shoplifters per year. The Brooklyn store was something like 3,000, 3,500 a year. The Fulton Street and the Kings Plaza were each doing 3,000. So that's like 6,000 between that, 11,000 there. And that's not even talking about what Bloomingdale, all these retailers, Bloomingdale's, Stearns, Lord & Taylor, H&M, catching thousands of shoplifters per year, every one of them in the 5 boroughs of Manhattan. So what they did was you get caught shoplifting. You get caught shoplifting once. And back then, I think a felony was 500. Anything over 500 or maybe 700. Might even have been 1,000. New York might even have been 1,000. So like the 950 isn't even that big of a deal because I've in the 90s I dealt with states where in locations where it was 1,000 for a felony. So it's not even that. You get caught every time you get caught shoplifting, any place they give you a criminal trespass and you're signed. You get caught shoplifting again on that criminal trespass, it is now a felony with a mandatory 3 to 5 years. We cleared out so many people. Our apprehensions dropped from 5,000 a year to about 1,500 to 2,000 a year. And that was across the city, across the board. Because they were giving these guys 3 to 5 years like it was candy, like it was going out of style. Wiped out a whole load of assholes out of New York. And these other locales did the same thing. You have to follow up with your trespassing laws. It's not about the amount because the same people come in over and over and over again to steal from you. It's bullshit. It's a bullshit issue. And it's because these retailers, and again, who's the one who told you years ago what was going to happen with these retailers? Why I left Macy's? What was going to go? What? You're a liar. You just you didn't want to work. Told you it was all unsustainable. I told you the cities were going to fall. I told you the Northeast was out of control. It wasn't sustainable. I saw it coming. I remember hearing the conversations on the 12th floor. Federated offices then became Macy's Inc. and, the CEOs and CS with. Saw everybody as nothing more than parts of a machine to be replaced and then to be scrapped out for the most profit that they possibly can get. And then they can run off with their golden parachutes as they continue to drive each other's companies into the ground. So, whew, all right. Not a bad first video back, if I can say so myself. So, I have the narcissism queue. Let me know if you got anything else you guys want me to, to get into. Yeah, it's nice to have a nice little cushion going forward here, so I'm not completely not worried about being homeless. So that's nice. But we do want to make sure, we do want to keep Ollie as successful as possible. And again, I want to thank everybody who's donated and continues to contribute and understands how my crazy mind works and how my demons work, and that I just need some space sometimes to keep going. And you're going to get content, you're going to get a lot of it. You just get it in segments, and that's the best way I can work it. So if there's something you want me to get into, if you have something in the queue you want to remind me of, just send it forward. If you want to, again, you guys know what to do with the links in the description box below to contribute to the channel. PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, whichever you're choosing, doesn't really matter. Whatever you're comfortable with. And again, it's going to be a lot of Rumble exclusives as well, where you'll be getting a lot more of old school Ollie, because I am trying not to curse and be good. So again, I'm glad to be back. Thank you to everybody for your patience and for your support and for watching. And I will see you all real soon. So get ready, everybody. It's gonna be wild. See you soon, everybody. Bye.